Welcome to Toonium. We are the new element in animation. I'm your humble host, Old Hunter Rage. I got my best friend here, Animus Prime JR. Said what's up to the people.
What is up, peoples?
And today we have a very sorrowing topic for you, at least for for a couple of us. If you saw the thumbnail, you know what we're talking about. But before we get into all that good stuff, please remember to like, comment, subscribe. We'll tell you what to comment, by the end of the video. But please make sure you subscribe and like this video, and that way you can be, ready for more videos as they come out. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack with this. We are talking about SpongeBob SquarePants presents The Title Zone, which is a play on the Twilight Zone, which I did not know going into this, and I like the Twilight Zone. Okay, so a quick synopsis. Oh god, it's gonna be so hard to get through. A brief synopsis of this. It's a TV special. It's about 50 minutes long. It's from what I could tell, and I wrote it down because I had to make sure to write stuff down for this. It's kind of split up into 5 parts, spread out over 3 shows in the SpongeBob universe, which is baffling to think about because anyway. It's spanning over SpongeBob SquarePants, the original show, SpongeBob, I believe it's called Camp Coral, which is like a prequel show that's kind of 3D-ish animated, and the last one is the Patrick Star Show, because he got a show somehow.
Nobody ever learns the lesson of don't give the comic relief their own show. It seldom ever works out. We'll go through these parts and we'll kind of give our initial thoughts, get those out of the way, and then we can hop into the spoilers. JR, we are there's not really that much spoilers we can really get into. JR, you and I, we grew up around the same time. We are we grew up at the same time pretty much. We been friends for God knows how long. So we we have a love for SpongeBob, old SpongeBob. The OG. Yes.
So I guess first things first. How do you feel?
SpongeBob is dead. SpongeBob is dead. He died after the first movie, and they just are pissing all over his corpse. This shows to me. Oh my god. I don't know how it is that I could. I've been reminded that parents nowadays, they don't want their kids watching SpongeBob, and I've always been curious as to why. This is why. Because of shit like this. And it's honestly it's just a shame to me, because growing up with SpongeBob, it was always a fun time. It was always my dad and I always had this agreement. Either I go take a bath now, or we could watch a little bit of SpongeBob, and I'm like, SpongeBob now.
Yeah.
And I take a bath quickly, and then I go watch SpongeBob right before my bedtime. It's always the best time for me. Memories. And this special pisses on that memory.
I had a lot of conflicting emotions, because as I was watching it, and I wonder if you went through the same thing. I was watching it and I was like, I'm going to give this a chance. And then as it started, I was like, I don't like this at all. Like almost immediately, because if I remember correctly, the first part is the Patrick Star show, and I was like, I don't. I feel like I'm missing so much stuff right now. Why does he have a talk show? Why is there a TV sitting outside of his house? Why are they walking in and out of the TV? Why does his grandfather think they're like? And
oh my god!
And then I had to sit there and think maybe it's because we grew up with the original SpongeBob. We have fond memories of the original SpongeBob. There's a lot of episodes that we think about. When we think about SpongeBob, there's like 5 to 10 episodes I can rattle off immediately that I remember laughing my ass off to. And maybe it's just nostalgia, but I don't know, man. What's going on nowadays is like, I don't know how kids are dealing with this. Are they enjoying SpongeBob? I genuinely don't understand anymore. It's bizarre.
But this is like they're having their own Simpsons moment where the original, the first few seasons, they were the most beloved seasons. But then over time, they're just running out of ideas and they don't know what to write about anymore. So they just rehash old stuff or retcon old stuff, and they do it poorly. And God, I hate the animation in this SpongeBob series, in this special, because I remember the old series, that the old SpongeBob, how it was animated. Sometimes it was a little different, but it was unique for its time, and it had better timing. It had better comedic timing. Here, the timing is just, they're all spastic. They're all like in these different poses all the time. The old one was more subtle, but when the changes are made, that's when the laughs happen, because you remember the whole "who you calling Pinhead?" That got the most laughs because you never expect Patrick to make that face. Now Patrick makes 12 different faces in one sentence, and I'm like, this isn't funny. You're overdoing it. They overdo it.
Yeah,
it's just they don't know what to do anymore.
I guess that's a good segue to go ahead and just start talking about these 5 parts. 'Cause I wrote it down. The first part is called Shrinking Stars, which, like you were saying, because I had the exact same reaction that you did. You were saying, I was watching it and I was like, why are they moving so much? Like, it's so spastic, and like it feels like it's giving me anxiety the more I watch it, because it's like, y'all need to sit still. Somebody needs to sit still. This is way too much. And it's funny because that's by the end of, when I finished watching the whole thing, in my head, I was like, well, I can give the special somewhat of a positive in that the animation is pretty good. And then I thought about the Patrick Star portion. I was like, no, no.
They had more animation that they knew what to do with.
It just, it was strange. For a brief synopsis of the Shrinking Stars episode, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's Patrick Star. I guess the whole premise of that show in particular is Patrick somehow has a talk show because somebody decided to give Patrick his own show.
Yeah. I think like his spin-off is mostly him in a talk show. That's what I'm getting. That's the vibes I'm getting, because it's like so different from actual SpongeBob. But who the fuck gave him a talk show? Who said,
I don't know,
look at this guy and give him a talk show? I don't get it. It doesn't make sense.
And again, this also might be the old head in me, but that episode where SpongeBob got a hold of Mermaid Man's belt and started shrinking people did it way better than this episode.
That's exactly what I was thinking throughout this entire episode, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna make a Wumbo joke or something, and it's not gonna be as fun as the other one. And no, it never happens. Instead, we have like them trying to do like a Twilight Zone thing and have them being looked at like from an eye. And
yeah,
honestly, it probably would have been better if we didn't know that they were shrunk down. Maybe to have the more Twilight Zone elements of it. But this is for kids, so they probably won't get it.
Yeah. And I believe by the end of this first part is where they make the connecting through line of all of a sudden Grand Pat is traveling through time or dimensions or something like that for whatever reason. So, and that takes us right into Welcome to Binary Bottom, which honestly, as bad as this special was, Binary Bottom was probably the highlight of the whole thing, because it was just, what if everybody in Bikini Bottom was robots? And
here's the thing, that part, it reminded me of like when Squidward travels to the future. That episode where Squidward travels into the future, or he was in this room traveling through time. That itself is a Twilight episode. That's a really out there episode, and it was funny because he goes to the future, and they were like, everything is chrome, and then they spray paint one of the flowers that bursted out into chrome. Yeah. And yeah, I'm just waiting for Squidward to just be like, future.
Oh, it's definitely. I'm starting to realize it for sure. It's not that we're just old heads. It's that SpongeBob has done these things before, and it did it better. Like,
yes. This whole thing is just them rehashing old stuff for modern audiences, and it's not. It doesn't work as good. It doesn't work as well as the old time, and throughout that binary episode, I hated the way Gary was. I don't know if you noticed, but Gary is so active in this. He's so different from how I originally remember him. He acts more like a dog now. Like when he's chasing this butterfly, I'm like, that's something a dog would do. Like him being
he was weird.
Yeah. I used to like Gary. I used to like SpongeBob, and now this special is just crapping all over his memory.
Yeah, it wasn't a fun time. For those of you watching, we're doing our best. I swear, this was just.
I know, but every time I remember, every time we go through something about this special, it just reminds me of something SpongeBob did before, better than what this special does, and it's hard to contain that. So I'm trying.
We're trying. By the end of the Binary Bottom episode, I believe Grand Pat randomly shows up, and he's like, "Oh, they're all robots," and then he leaves. Right. Which takes us into part 3, which is the switch glitch, and this is the episode that is from Camp Coral, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Because as soon as I saw the animation, I was like, I realized I have never seen a frame of this show. Oh God! And this is the point where I was like, you know what? Regardless of how dumb this is, and the premise and whatever's happening in the episode, I was like, this is pretty. This is a good looking show.
It's a pretty
fault him for
animated
that.
show. Yeah. It's a pretty animated show. I I like the animation in this one. This Camp Coral, I feel it should have been better as a web series than anything. Like a very short 3-minute web series that kids would just get a chuckle, get a giggle out of it, but not like a whole ass show based on this.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, the premise of the episode is there's some electric berry bush that Plankton's wife is, which I thought it was kind of cute that she's still the robot, like she's still the computer screen, but she's rolling around on a pink roller skate. I was like, oh, that's cute. So she was doing that, and she had to pick up some electric berries, and then her and Patrick ended up switching bodies. So you get really smart Patrick, which has already been done before, and
like the brain.
I just remembered
switching between robots thing. SpongeBob did it before. Like we're saying, we're trying our best to keep this as separate from the original, but it's hard to do when they keep rehashing old stuff and doing it worse. Like,
yeah. But you get to see baby SpongeBob, you get to see baby Sandy, you get to see baby Pat.
Which always bothered me that Sandy is there, because I hate to keep doing this. An earlier SpongeBob, the first SpongeBob season, is where they first met each other. Because SpongeBob never seen a squirrel before, and Sandy was just destroying shit in the background.
Yeah, that is correct. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh God.
The only thing I ever liked from this special is like going back on the binary thing, the binary sponge thing, is everybody else in Bikini Bottom is a robot, but Karen is the normal one. They switched it, and I thought that was funny to me. They didn't really incorporate that as well as I wanted them to, but whatever.
I mean, I'll give that episode this, because that part was genuinely funny, because Plankton, as small as he was, could only move so fast. So she would be riding behind him, and she would pick him up when he would get trampled, and she'd be like, "Go get him, buddy, go get him." Which I thought that was funny.
Which leads back to another previous episode in the earlier seasons, when one of the first episodes you meet Plankton, and he's riding on like a robot Krabby Patty. He's like, I think it's time to switch this into maximum overdrive. Yeah, and then he just moves like a tiny bit faster, but Kevin's like, that's another thing.
He just walked up and picked him up. Yeah.
If anything, this special makes me appreciate the old SpongeBob more.
Honestly, yeah, actually.
I will give this.
Yes. So the title zone. Thank you for that. I'm sure that's not what you were going for, but and then we have part 4, which is You're Going to Pay Phone, which is the payphone episode, because there's Mr. Krabs puts a payphone in the Krusty Krab to make some more money, and then
he makes a deal with the devil and trying to get more money, which has been done like 3 separate times. And at least this one is a little more inventive. Like there's kind of a twist to it. Like he tries to get whenever he answers the phone, he gets hypnotized into doing a selfless act, to do a selfless act, which is normally what he wouldn't do. And then he snaps out and he's like, "SpongeBob, why are you giving away free patties?" And she's like, You just said.
You told me to.
You told me to. And it just goes on like that.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty good. And by the end, when he tries to like, when the like a demon or something, I don't know what that was about. When a demon comes out of nowhere from the phone, and he's like, they have a stare down, and all of a sudden, whoop, they switch places. I thought that was pretty good. I thought that was a good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There's the consequence. Yep.
Yeah, that episode felt like it's funny because looking at the list of them and looking at the 2 episodes that I actually, somewhat enjoyed, both of them are from original SpongeBob.
From OG SpongeBob.
Yeah. And this payphone one felt like a classic SpongeBob episode. It just came out later. So I'll give it that. I enjoyed that episode. And then I thought it was going to end, and then they had to give us one more little part. And the last little part is called a skin wrinkle. I know, yeah. What happened to Patchy? What
happened to Patchy?
Is he not on the show anymore?
I feel like he is just used way less, or he's done. He's just done. And it's Tom Kenny. Wasn't it Tom Kenny who played Patchy?
It was, yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because I was thinking about it, and the only thing I wrote down, other than like the names of the episodes and everything, I wrote down a couple things, and like the first thing I wrote down was that was an assault on my senses.
I did get a headache after that, yeah.
It was, it just, I don't know what else to even say about this special. It makes me kind of sad, honestly. It makes me sad that this is what SpongeBob is now. Yeah. Because even the 2 good parts of the special that are in original SpongeBob, they're still not, what it used to be. And I wish I had more positive things to say about this, but I'm speaking truthfully. I feel like we both are, and it just, I don't know, man. This might just, you can chalk it up to a case of nostalgia, but old SpongeBob was way better. Way better,
yeah. They had smart humor. They had better character, better version of the characters. Better comedy.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to and see. And I will say this: it had a good idea by saying it's a twist on the Twilight Zone, which they could have done so much more stuff with that, but they didn't. It was, just squandered, really, in my opinion. Shoot, this is getting really depressing, people. I'm so sorry you guys had to hear this.
I mean, I cut you off earlier when we were talking about like the end of this with the skin wrinkle in time.
Oh, yeah, skin wrinkle in time. Honestly, I can't even remember what happened in that one. I just know that one was wrapping up what happened with Grandpat.
I remember that when he was like traveling through time or whatever the fuck, I don't even remember how that started. But he was like shouting, "Is this the beginning of time?" And then you see the pirate portrait that goes, "Ooh."
Oh yeah.
I honestly thought that was funny. I'm like, that's actually the start.
Yeah.
And I don't know who sings that song, but it feels like they got somebody else to sing this song. Even like it could even be like the exact same audio from the title, because he doesn't change any of the words. Only the background singers do. Like when they sing the Gramps name instead. Like that always confused me. Afterwards, I don't remember what happened.
Yeah, it was, and I watched this twice. I still don't remember what happened by the end of it.
Yeah, I also watched this twice. Right before doing this talk. Right before we were talking about this, and it's blanking. It's blanking to me. All I remember is the recreation of the theme song, and that was it.
It's it's honestly a shame. But if there's nothing else to say, we'll go ahead and close this out. If you had to rate this out of 5, what would you give it?
0 tartar sauce.
Ooh. And you know what? I thought about giving it a 0 too, but I like the payphone episode, so that's a 1. I'll give it a 1. That's generous.
I would give it a half sauce, tartar sauce.
Yeah, a half good noodle star, as they say. So if you made it to the end of this review, I really appreciate it. In the comments, please tell us, what you thought of the Title Zone. Did you watch the Title Zone? What's your favorite original SpongeBob episode and moment? Tell us all that good stuff, because when you start talking about SpongeBob to anybody who loves the original show, that conversation will go on for hours. So just gush in the comments, please. There's a lot of good things in the original show to talk about. Don't let this be a stain on on our memories.
They'll never kill my SpongeBob.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you guys for watching. This has been Toonium. I've been Old Hunter Rage. That's been Animus Prime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace.